All right, we've got a SharePoint question. Hey team, my work uses SharePoint as our intranet, and we use custom styling to make a new page header. In aid of that, we have used CSS to hide the default header they've got a string there. However, it has recently just stopped working. Any ideas as to why that might happen? I know this is a shot in the dark, and am currently looking through what might be causing the issue internally.
Well, in my experience, doing any customizations to SharePoint is potential to break as soon as Microsoft makes an update or a change. And it's best to stay out of the box as much as possible, even though I understand there are opportunities. I worked at one point and rebranded entire SharePoint farm using the 10,000 lines of CSS code that sits behind the scenes. I never want to do that again. That was a total nightmare. I would turn things pink, and then I could nothing changed. So I'd turn it back, and then later, like 6 months later, it's like, why is this pink on my screen? I'm like, where'd you see the pink? Where was that? Like, yeah, where was the pink? Yeah, the CSS code, when you start messing with that, you have the potential to break things. And as much as possible, I would avoid using any kind of custom code, because as soon as they make an update, it could potentially break. And
yeah, so what the answer to that, I mean, you have to go in and then test each one of those customizations to see what the change was. I mean, here if you're just seeing a change within, a page header setting where you've hidden something and it's now showing, well, go back and look at that, test that out. And I mean, you might be able to find some documentation if there's someone else who experienced the same thing and they may have blogged about it, shared the fix for that. But this goes back to the beginning of my career, documenting a lot of these different changes for the engineering department. So this is like 30 years ago, folks. So it wasn't CSS. It didn't exist yet. But similar thing where we would document those changes, because then a change would happen at the system level, and we would then have documented, here are each of the customizations. Here's the 500 customizations. And for us to then go back through and make the necessary updates and then document those changes. It's not that extreme. We're not talking about writing stuff in COBOL here, but yeah, you just need to be aware that, Shari, to your point, Microsoft makes an update. It's going to break these things, which is why Microsoft has said, you're better off going and using like the design elements, use the out-of-the-box capabilities than to try and customize.
Yep.
Which is why you went and built your solution on this in the first place.
Exactly. And different browsers also react differently to those codes. So even though it might work in Edge, it may not work in Chrome or some other random browser that somebody's using to consume that site. So you can't anticipate how each person is going to go view that content. So the brand center is beautiful. I've finally had an opportunity to kind of play with that recently. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would encourage people to do. For over 20 years, they've been calling my baby ugly. SharePoint's been my baby since it was content management server. It's finally pretty. People quit messing with it and just use the out of the box stuff. And the brand center lets you create different font schemes and themes and styles and color palettes and use that, and stop messing with my baby.
It really is significantly better than it was. And I understand some organizations are going to want to get very custom. And there are
brand center is Microsoft's Stepford Wives. Come on. They're all beautiful, yes, but
the last thing I'll add to what Shari's been saying is this is a SaaS platform. The code behind these pages changes weekly. Yeah. You will not be able to stay on top of what the latest CSS is. And hopefully they don't change the CSS that often. But I would not risk that. It's way too much effort for way too little juice. Way too much squeeze for way too little juice.
What is it? The phrase, well, the juice is not worth the squeeze?
That's the one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we should move on.
I smell what you're stepping in.
And no.